Welcome home, family and fellow citizens of the African Order. I'm here with another video, and the topic of this discussion is confidence in our leaders. Do we have it? To me, leadership or the position of a leader has two functions. One, to perpetuate a state or a philosophy, and two, to protect it. You know, if the world is crazy outside, whether you have a boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, president, mayor, you look to your leadership to keep your home stable. No matter what economic downturn the society is facing, as a woman, you will look to your husband, your boyfriend, and have confidence that he'll be able to weather this and maintain a stable home. As citizens of a country, when you see what's going on around the world, you look to your leaders and you hope that they have what it takes to shelter where you live from the craziness that's out there. You know, you should trust your leaders. You're supposed to. You know, I was watching this church program when you had a visiting pastor. He was coming to debate, and they were discussing whether or not God was three in one or three separate individuals. And the visiting pastor, he had the opposing opinion. And he was saying some very disparaging things about the home pastor. So they got to debating. The home pastor was going to the Bible. Every time a question was raised, he went to the Bible to get chapter and verse as to why he believed it, where you could actually read it for yourself. And the visiting pastor wasn't quite able to do that. He was calling up scriptures, but it wasn't really saying what he was saying it was going to say. Well, to make a long story short, at the end of the debate, the visiting pastor stood there in front of the congregation and said that the home pastor was a great apostle, that he take back everything he said about his debating skills. He's wonderful, and he apologized, and right there in front of the whole congregation. Now, to me, what they were debating was six in one hand, half a dozen in the other. But I looked at the people that was there, and I could just imagine the joy and pleasure they must have felt when they saw their pastor face his opposition, go to the source, quote scripture after scripture without hesitation, quoting it word for word. This guy knew the Bible. It must have felt joyful, proud to be a member of this church, because now he has just justified your participation in this program. And when I looked at that, I said to myself, do we have this type of confidence and trust in our leaders? I don't think so. You know, when trouble comes, you should feel confident that they could face this opposition, stand their ground, and protect their turf. These fools don't do that. You know, and I realized that if you had, you wouldn't need necessarily confidence in your leaders if you had competent leaders. If firing the CDC before COVID-19 pandemic started was stupid, what do you call firing the nurses during the pandemic? You know, Donald Trump said that the reason why he got rid of the CDC was because he didn't like people just sitting around doing nothing. Well, that was one of the dumbest things I ever heard come out this man's mouth. And it jeopardized everybody in this country. But if that's not bad enough, now that the COVID is here, and you got over 6 million people dead, you had nurses all last year working with no vaccine. Now because they refuse to take the vaccine, now you turning around and firing them, doing all these deviants that's popping up. What Donald Trump did was stupid. What the F do you call what these guys doing now? How do you have confidence in the leadership of this country? You know, I like Star Trek. And, you know, every once in a while, Captain Picard, you know, he asks for suggestions. If a problem come up and he gives his orders and don't come out right, you know, he'll turn around. I'm willing to take suggestions. You know, no matter who offers a suggestion, even Wesley Crusher, you never hear about in no future episode where Wesley is trying to now assume command of the Enterprise. You know why? Because of consistency. Picard has been captain of the Enterprise for years. He's been steadying the ship for years. You trust this man in just about every situation. And then the most important part is Captain Picard, he knows when to ask for help. You know, when you look at the economic condition this country is in, you know, these fools, they don't ask for help. You know, even though Picard on occasion looks to somebody else's suggestion, after the dangerous past, the ship has been saved, they still look to him as the captain. He's not diminished in any way. You know, it reminds me of the episode of JJ, Good Times, where the woman was coming into the house and she was pregnant. They was trying to find Florida left off to try to find a midwife to help the woman deliver the baby. And the baby started coming when Florida was gone. So JJ tells Michael to go out and go find their mama, because JJ knew this situation was getting above his head quickly. He ran to the door and he shouted down the hallway to Michael, if you can't find mama, bring back anybody's mama. Just bring back somebody to assume authority of this situation. You know, there's no shame in that. You know, and like I said, look at the decline of this country. You got $28 trillion. This country's in debt. $222,000 is attached to each citizen of this country. And if you don't believe that, just go to the national debt clock. Google it. National debt clock. Look up in the left-hand corner where you see the national deficit climbing. And then look at the part where it says per citizen. You'll see you have a $222,000, or maybe $223,000, $24,000 by now, portion that you are responsible for. This is from the leadership that we have right now. You know, you have a governing body that's paid by taxpayers, that's working against the best interests of the citizens. You know, they taking your taxpayer dollars, giving it to millionaires and billionaires to automate plants and restaurants and stuff to take the place of people. I don't understand it. Machines don't pay taxes. People do. Why is the government helping private industry replace people with machines? I mean, and you know, and they're doing all this, And still, they just don't want to give up authority. They just don't want to say, you know what, things have gotten out of hand, and can somebody else take the wheel? They don't want to. They're gonna take everybody down with them. You know, when I look at that situation, and I'm like, black people can have no faith in this. We can find no comfort in this. So we need to look to our people that's supposed to be leading us, and we need black competent leaders too. You know, marching unemployed people or underpaid people begging for jobs, it's going to lead them right back to the same people who underpaid them or fired them in the first place. That's ridiculous. You got some pastor, Barbara, whatever his name is, he got some poor people campaign where you got all these poor people marching to Washington or all these other states begging for jobs. When you can take all that resources and help create the jobs that they was already doing, and they don't have to go back to the same people. That's competent leadership. You know, there's 44 million blacks in this country. I'm sure you how simple this is. If each person in this country gave $1 per month, that'd be $44 million a month, and attached it to whatever social, economic, or political interest that goes against our favor, you know, we would have $528 million in 1 year to address each one of these. Imagine what our lives would look like after just 1 year of a $1 per month commitment to this cause. There'd be hardly no need to protest, because we'll be assuming ownership and control over every industry that we now work in. We'll have a political presence. We'll have a financial presence. We'll be able to finance our own ventures, our own endeavors. You know, we won't be leading our people right back to the slaughter. You know, having our own automotive plant, and we can use that money to multiply it and double it, triple it. It'll be generational. You've never heard of General Motors, Ford, or Chrysler go on a whole year and not selling out one vehicle. It just don't happen. So I know a lot of these Negroes talking about, so well, what if we don't sell no car? You ain't never heard of General Motors not selling no car. You ain't never heard of Chrysler not selling no car. They come out with cars every freaking year. So if we support our own, we'll be selling cars every freaking year. You look at the insurance industry, we'll be able to start our own insurance company. You know, and right now, if you get a ticket on your insurance, that ticket remain on your record. They can charge you more money for that for the next 5 years, whether you paid it or not. That's ridiculous. Black leadership that we have right now, they're reactionary. Whatever somebody do to us, they'll react to that. But they won't address none of the other circumstances around that negatively impact us. We open up our own insurance company and charge our people a fair rate, eliminate this 5-year penalty thing. That will save us all tons of money. And we can create new ways to insure our vehicles. And one of the things that I've thought of is, as opposed to insuring the vehicle, you insure the person that's driving the vehicle. So let's say you have 2 or 3 cars. According to your job, what you're capable of paying towards your monthly insurance bill, you should be able to qualify to cover a certain number, a certain amount for your vehicle. So no matter what car you get in, it's covered. You don't have to pay insurance on 3 separate vehicles when you only driving one at a time. That's because right now I have 3 vehicles, and I have to pay for insurance on all 3 of them. And I can only drive one car at a time. That don't make no freaking sense. we do this, it will save everybody that has multiple vehicles thousands of dollars over their lifetime. You know, these are the things that we can do if we take ownership and control over our way of life. Even if you go to a friend's house and they got a car, but no insurance. As soon as you sit in that car, if that car don't go over a certain amount of money, equity or whatever, you can drive it. It's not hard. You know, we do this, we can unite our people. You know, we can start building together. You know, changing the culture that we live in. You know, we can create our own laws to govern and guide and protect our people. You know, do you think for 1 second that this governing body is going to do this? Do you think they're willing to do this for black people? Just imagine what if we did this. What our community will look like 10 years from now. Now, imagine what this country is going to look like 10 years from now if we don't do this. If we allow these fools to continue driving not only this country but this world in a downward turn, what is it going to look 10 years from now if blacks don't reassume authority and control over their way of life? You think it's bad now, it'll be 100 times worse. So, before I end this video, let me say this. I don't know what level of confidence you had in this country and in the leadership of this country before you heard this message. But how can you have any confidence in this country after you heard it? I'm going to end this message here. And if you like it, please share it. And if you like this content, consider subscribing to the channel. And with this video, as with all my videos, it is for the complete liberation of my people. And I'll see you in my next message. Ashe.